on my own personal list of most anticipated vehicles that I have been absolutely waiting for and dying to drive, this one right here is without a doubt, for me, at the top of the list. This is the Defender OCTA. Okay, why so excited about the Defender OCTA? Well, I love off-roading, I love fast off-roading, I really enjoy Land Rovers, I like boxy vehicles, and V8s are fun too, right? Style-wise, this is like a Land Rover taken up another level. It's wider, it sits a little higher, it just looks a bit more aggressive. It looks properly Defender in that it has the all-terrain tires. All seasons are optional. Excuse me, all seasons are standard, 22-inch wheels are standard, but these optional 20s on the base tier all-terrains look fantastic. Those are BF Goodrich all-terrains. There's an optional upgrade tire that is a set of Goodyears that they say were specifically engineered for this vehicle, and Land Rover and Goodyear claim that they outperform the KO3. I cannot confirm or deny that since I've not driven the KO3 and I have not driven those Goodyears. But these BFGs are great. They're not KO2s, they're just the standard all-terrains. Okay, so style-wise, like I said, this one is an Edition 1, so it's a 2025 model year vehicle. It's the first year only run in these Edition 1s in this pharaoh green color with this mint, with this matte protection on it, so it looks like a matte paint job. It's a good green. It's a little too dark, but it's a good green. And Land Rover's problem is that they only really like dark colors. The color palette that is available for 2026 right now is just so boring. There's a good blue, Sargasso blue I believe it's called, there's Petra copper, and then it's like two grays and a white. I don't understand why Land Rover doesn't dip into its heritage colors, or if any vehicle would be befitting of a paint to sample program, it's this one. You're already gonna pay tons of money, which we'll get to in a minute. You're already paying tons of money, so a customer at this level would love to make it their own like their friends with Porsches do. You know, this should be offered in a sand glow yellow. This should be offered in a brighter green. Land Rover's always had a really good red, you know? And then yeah, the blacks, the grays, the whites, that's fine too. But like, let's have some color beyond your very, very limited muted palette. And that goes for the whole Defender lineup. If you want any sort of color, you cannot get a V8 version. The Defender 90 is now V8 only, which is good or bad depending on your point of view. The six-cylinder Defenders though, that's a great engine for these. It's like, what is it, 300 horse, 400 horse? It's, yeah, 300 horse, or is it 295 or 395? There might be two different versions, I forget, whatever. Either way, it's plenty of power for this, but this one makes more power. Again, we'll get to that. So, but style-wise, these wheels are fantastic. 2.7 inches wider in the front and rear track. Ground clearance is 12.7, so it's over an inch more ground clearance than the regular vehicle. It just sits wider. It's got those three lights in the grill to let you know, I'm a wide boy. I'm an OCTA. I barely fit on the trails, but it's actually not the case. It doesn't drive as wide as it looks until you have to park the thing, but then there are cameras and sensors everywhere. So like I said, this looks awesome. The tow hooks front and rear, the one buried up front a little bit. It like I said, takes the Defender to another level style-wise. I think it looks fantastic. My only gripe would be more color choices. Inside, pretty standard Defender treatment, but these have the upgraded fabric seats, which I think it's Ultra Fabric Land Rover calls it. Super comfortable, so much more interesting and better than leather. It's cool when it's hot out. It's nice, it's a little bit warmer when it's cool out. Like, it's just this really neat fabric that works great in all weather situations. But if you do need to use the heated seats in this thing, they're phenomenal. Level 3 is too hot. Like, you'll get there, you'll cook quickly. Level 1 is still like where most cars 3 is at, which is good if you're exploring the Arctic or Sweden. You know, if you're driving this somewhere just where it gets tremendously cold, right? Right. I forgot I had that camera. So the inside is nice. It's more room inside than what I would call the competition for this, which would be the G63. It is more roomy inside than that, which is also an upgrade as well. Decent little sound system in here. I think it's a Bowers & Wilkins setup. I'll have to double check that because I'm just pulling that one out of my ass. But the ride is great. The view is what you're used to out of a Defender, nice and commanding view of the road. But the meat of all the Octa is everything going on under the skin. We'll start with the engine. This has a twin-turbo V8 borrowed from BMW. It's a 4.4 liter unit. It's a hot V setup. It makes 626 horsepower and up to 590 pound-feet of torque if you engage launch control, because of course this has a launch mode. And if you've seen the straight pipes video of this, on pavement, this will pull a wheelie. They got a tire off the ground, which is fucking hilarious and incredible. Let me see if I have enough little space here to just do, there's a car there. I was gonna say give it a little punch, but I got some elderly bird watchers here I don't want to upset. So this will it will pull wheelies. You're in a Defender that can pull wheelies. That's how much power we're dealing with here. 0 to 60, I think, is under 4, which is just amazing for a vehicle like this. The top speed with the 22s and the all seasons is 155, which is hysterical. Once you dip to the all-terrain, you're down to 130, which is fine. we don't need to test that in this. I will say on the freeway, if hypothetically I cruised at 95 to 100 miles per hour to get to a car show early one morning, theoretically, if I did that, I would imagine it would be smooth and confident on the road, just theoretically. But in general driving, it is great on the road, and that's partly due to the 6D dynamic suspension system that underpins it, which is basically the same as what was in that Range Rover SVR we drove. And this is another comparison actually to the G63 AMG, because that car is fitted with AMG Active Ride Control, optionally. This is standard on this one, that's optional on that one. It's a hydraulic system in both of them. Hydraulically linked actuators. There is no need for physical anti-roll bars. The hydraulic system affords you more articulation off-road and less body roll on-road. Best of both worlds, literally. And I have to say, running up this hill, as Kate Bush would say, the ride is top tier for things I've driven up this hill. G-Wagons are always do well. Regular Land Rover Defenders always do well. This thing, I was cruising up here earlier to try to catch the sunset, and it was great. Confidence inspiring. Driving quickly when I knew no one was coming, looking far enough ahead before I got to corners, keeping an eye out for dust. And so I got a pretty good run up the hill because it's, a Monday and other people have real jobs that pay them actual professional money. But just ripping up the hill. But this is my first time to get it in the dirt, so I wanted to, test it out a little bit. And it's delivered. It is comfortable. It has power everywhere you need it. The brakes feel great, and they should, because the fronts are massive. 15.7-inch Brembos with 6-piston calipers. The rear rotors are 14.4. This has great off-road features too. I believe it's like a 40.2-inch approach angle and north of 42 degrees departure angle, so it's better than a Bronco Raptor as far as those numbers are concerned. The wading depth is like 40 inches or something like that. So it beats the Bronco Raptor there as well. You can get this with an optional raised air intake, aka a dorkle or a snorkel, however you feel about those. That intake cost you an extra like $5,500. I don't know if that's a good or bad price. What I do know is a bad price is the optional winch for this. Yes, it is very cool that they put a winch as an optional extra. It's $17,000. $17,000 for what is essentially a very good worn winch, but that's a $2,000 winch. You can see some lights. I'm just trying to keep an eye out for potential traffic. $17,000. Make that the paint to sample program and toss in the winch. What are you doing, Land Rover? But so let's get to price. These start right around $160. This first edition, which is sold out, is closer to $170. I built one online without the winch package because I'm not a maniac, and I was at $180 because I, picked the Sargasso blue one with the matte protection, because it does look cool in the matte, but it's also full-on paint protection film. And if you're going off-roading, that's a good thing to have on your $180,000 vehicle. So driving dynamics, it's brilliant on road. It's hugely comfortable. This has Octa mode. You press and hold this button at the bottom of the steering wheel, and the paddle shifters light up red, which is a cool little feature. The exhaust baffles open up so it's a bit louder. It optimizes the power delivery off-road for better launch performance, and I believe it tweaks the brakes slightly as well, maybe the ABS performance. But every time I get into this, I immediately I have not driven it in any other modes. Why would you? If you buy this, why would you? I put it in Octa mode, I put the shifter into sport, and I let the gearbox do its thing. I should have said that. It's an 8-speed gearbox. There's a 2-speed transfer case. It is a real deal off-roader. And it shifts well on its own. Out here on the hill, I haven't shifted it at all myself. On the freeway sometimes, I'll do a little bit of shifting with the paddles. It's not like a lightning quick gearbox, but it's enough when you want to just drop a gear and get around some folks, and it is very easy to get around all of the folks. It is tantalizing and exhilarating and just wonderful. It's everything I hoped it would be, this Octa. I'm so glad that they didn't screw this one up, and I didn't think they would, because this is a pretty easy formula to get right. Give it the right wheels and tires and proper brakes if you're giving it a monster engine. And then you take it the extra mile by putting a truly dynamic and intriguing suspension system under the skin, and you have a winner. And Land Rover believes that so much that they're taking a trio of these racing at the Dakar Rally in 2026, which will be awesome. Sarah Price is one of the drivers from the US. I hope she crushes it out there. If I had the money, I always wonder which highfalutin fancy off-roader I would put in my driveway. Obviously, I'm an old car person. I like older cars. But if I wanted a modern vehicle, because they say the enthusiast midlife crisis is a new car and not an old car. If I wanted a modern vehicle, I always go back and forth, like, wow, you drive a G-Wagon, you're reminded of how brilliant it is. And then you come back to stuff like this, and just the mentality of ready to tackle Dakar. You're saving money over the G-Wagon if you care about that in this price range. You have more power, you have more room. I would get it painted myself or wrapped just so I could get a cooler color, after I bought it. I think I'd go Defender OCTA over G63. You look like less of a douche, I think, too. And that's not the fault of the G-Wagon. It's become associated with, just money and obscene wealth and silly things, where the Defender, there's charm to it still. I do think I would prefer to be the first owner with the warranty of the OCTA, whereas with the G63, I could be the fourth owner and it'd probably still be okay. But we'll see how that hydraulic suspension system holds up over time, because the cost to fix it would be like old Mercedes 600 grosser level of stuff. But yeah, as long as you get a healthy one of these, a good build, what a wonderful machine. What a truly awesome thing. The price point, again, it's very expensive, but it still undercuts its competition, so how can I get mad at the price? I can get mad at the world around us that things cost this much. Oh, can we jump here? Watch, I get a flat now, like as it's getting dark. So, yeah, because I babbled long enough on this one. I've been talking for a bit. The Defender OCTA rules. I love it with my entire heart. I wish I could afford one. If I had the money and I were in the market for something like this, I would absolutely go OCTA over G63. I think it's a more interesting product. I like that it has more power. I like that it's not insanely shouty, but you can just hear enough of a rumble back there with the V8. And I'm sure Lucky 8 or whatever that brand is would have, if you want things to punch it up. I don't think you need to punch it up. It rips. I love it. I want one. Land Rover, if you're ever considering giving people long-term loans of the OCTA, you should be foolish enough to consider me, because I will get it dirty and muddy, and I'll drive it all the places you wish your owners would take it. I will take it. So, just consider. We'd start the non-monetary version of a GoFundMe if you're watching this, where you all write Land Rover and say, hey, who really needs a long-term OCTA? He's just the right guy for it. I think that's what we should do. Thanks. Like and subscribe, or don't. It's getting dark, too dark to see.